Today's reading, one more from the section of Mark that's not in the lectionary, contains a healing story, but one with an unusual twist. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Friday, February 6th, 2026. If my counting is correct, there are 10 stories in the Gospels in which Jesus is said to have healed one or more blind people, including at least 3 times when it is mentioned in only a very general way. But only Mark records the story I'm about to read. When you hear it, I think you'll understand why. We read, "They came to Bethsaida. Some people brought a blind man to him and begged him to touch him. He took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the village. And when he had put saliva on his eyes and laid his hands on him, he asked him, 'Can you see anything?' And the man looked up and said, 'I can see people, but they look like trees walking.' Then Jesus laid his hands on his eyes again, and he looked intently, and his sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly. Then Jesus sent him away to his home, saying, 'Do not even go into the village.'" I think you see the issue here, no pun intended. Jesus heals a man, but it takes 2 tries. At least on the face of it, Jesus' first attempt at healing was only partially successful. Not exactly an encouraging sign. Maybe that's why neither Matthew nor Luke includes it in their Gospels. But maybe there's a point to it. Mark is pretty careful with his words and doesn't seem to waste a single one. And unless I miss my guess, he has an important point to make here. And it is tied to the story we read yesterday when Jesus was in the boat with his disciples and they were talking about a lack of bread. Remember that story? Jesus has fed 4,000 people with 7 loaves of bread and a few fish. Then he crosses the Sea of Galilee and is confronted by Pharisees who wanted a sign. They appeared to be blind to what Jesus is really doing. Then he gets back into the boat and overhears the disciples talking about the problem of having just a single loaf of bread that they have between them. It becomes clear to Jesus that even they still don't know what to make of him. They probably still think he's nothing more than a great teacher, an occasional healer and magician. He says to them, "Why are you talking about having no bread? Do you still not perceive or understand? Are your hearts hardened? Do you have eyes and fail to see?" It is clear that they see Jesus and what he does, but they don't see him for who he really is. Then they come ashore at Bethsaida on the very northern shore of the lake. That's where today's healing story takes place, and it appears to be both a healing story and a commentary on seeing fully and completely. When Jesus first puts saliva on the man's eyes and lays his hands on him, he asks what he sees, and at this point he only sees partially. Then Jesus lays his hands on him again, and his sight is fully restored. The same holds true metaphorically with the disciples. They responded to his call to follow him, and they clearly know he's something special, but as yet they don't fully see who he really is. Like the blind man after the first step in the healing process, they see partially, but not yet completely. That will come, but for now, they don't quite get it. Mark is a pretty skillful writer, and he often places stories in a certain order such that one story is a response to or commentary to an earlier story, or else a setup for a coming story, and sometimes both. This story of the healing of the blind man is both. It is a commentary on the blindness of the Pharisees and the partial blindness of the disciples, and it is a perfect setup for the story that follows, when he takes the disciples north to the villages of Caesarea Philippi. That's where we'll be tomorrow, and we'll see how well the disciples' vision improves. Now may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.